What's going on, Station Athletics? My name is JJ Valentin. I'm the head of media here at Station Athletics, and I'm here alongside our CEO, Joe Pa. And in today's episode, we are going to be talking about something very scientific, very sciencey, and that is body adaptation. This is a topic that we kind of covered in our last episode where we talked about the CrossFit myths. It kind of goes hand in hand, so we figured this would be a good thing to bring back up and go more in depth on the actual body adaptation side of things. So body adaptation is basically, do you want to explain what it is for simple terms?
So body adaptation. Can't even say it. Adaptation. Cut. Adaptation. Oh, you spelled it. You did the.
I did the phonetics.
phonetics.
Joe is a very smart guy, but for some reason, this is a tongue twister.
Reading
for
and
him.
writing. Do you know that I'm super dyslexic?
Are you?
Bad.
Is that why you have glasses?
Yeah, these are non-prescription.
They're non-prescription,
but they make me look smarter, so we roll with them anyway.
Not even blue light.
They're not blue light. Adaptation. Okay, so the reason why that I liked and me and JJ and I picked this subject was understanding what that actually means. So adaptation in the fitness world is how your body adapts to the actual type of fitness that you're doing. So this ranges obviously from if you're doing bodybuilding, in our world, functional fitness, CrossFit style workouts, and why the program is kind of designed that way, to understand why so many people struggle in the fitness space because they get used to something and then the results kind of pivot, stop, or slow down dramatically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it takes body adaptation. I mean, we did some research on it. So the definition of it is the process where the body adjusts to stress, such as exercise, environmental changes, or dietary shifts, to become more efficient and capable. Typically occurs over 4 to 16 weeks of consistent exercise, keyword there is consistent. Initial strength can be seen as early as 2 to 4 weeks in, while noticeable physical changes start after 8 to 12 weeks.
Yeah. So, I mean, in English, right, basically what that means is if your body's not getting used to whatever it's doing, a lot of times the stimulus goes away, right, because of what you're trying to accomplish. So let's use a really clear example. We were just talking about this off air. Let's talk about this in two different ways. Let's talk about it from a visual, so a weight loss or muscle gaining type, so more aesthetic view, and then let's talk about it from a performance base.
Yep.
Okay, so from an aesthetic base, right, let's say that I am working on isolation because I want to lose body fat and I want to continue to gain mass. Okay. Mm-hmm. So the consistency variables there, right, are going to be a couple things. It's not just the fitness. You have the fitness component, then you have the actual food component or your macronutrients on your diet, right? And then you have your consistency, okay, on those three pieces. So if I'm doing the same thing over and over and over again, yeah, you will continue to see results to an extent, but what happens is your body gets used to something as simple as, okay, if I am consistently doing the same diet over and over and over again, eventually your body doesn't react as well to it. Mm-hmm. I've seen a lot of people over the years, and I've had thousands of people come through all of our locations. So we have tons of data on this, on let's say actual weight loss progression, okay? And a lot of people, when they're looking, let's just use a nice easy math. Let's say someone's looking to lose 50 pounds, okay? The first 20 pounds tends to come off really fast. And then it's okay, well, what's next? Mm-hmm. So you have to have a progression even on your meal and your diet side as well, okay? So let's flip it to the fitness side in the same scenario from an aesthetic. If that person is not being consistent, or say they're coming in only 3 days a week and they haven't changed anything, so some variables of that are in the fitness side, you can break that piece even down. Are you bringing in a high effort, right? Are you pushing the weights, as in are you progressing on your strength side? And are you doing the movement patterns to the best of your ability on the full movement pattern, right? So an example of that is if you're doing a barbell thruster, right? Are you squatting down all the way? Are you in a good position? Are you then also trying to build the weight across, if you're doing it in an AMRAP style, or if you're doing it in a strength, are you pushing the weight on with that? Because if you do not change those variables, your body gets used to that too.
Yeah.
Right? So then if we flip this, me and JJ just talked about this off air. For you that don't know him, he follows Mayhem right now. And they do they do anaerobic capacity work. How many days a week? 2-3 days a week?
So recently, they started the new cycle, and it was so every Tuesday since the start of the new cycle has been rowing and burpees. You get your initial baseline test in the beginning. You say, all right, it's a 20-minute EMOM. You have to do as many calories in the row as you can, as many burpees as you can, and you kind of stick. You get like a estimate of how many you could do throughout the EMOM, and then throughout the course of the weeks, like we're saying, okay, take that baseline, do 110% of that, or do 105% of that, do 90% of that, and just try and stay consistent with that as you go. And over time, I noticed in the beginning, it would take me towards the end of the EMOM. I'm rowing, and I'm getting to like 13 calories, and I'm just like huffing and puffing. Mm-hmm. Today's Tuesday when we're filming this. We did the same thing. It was 110% effort. I kind of felt a little beat up, so I'm like, okay, I'm not going to go 110% effort. I'm going to take my time. I'm hitting my 12 to 13 calorie mark, no issue. With 30 seconds to spare, I'm not huffing and puffing afterwards. I feel perfectly fine. I'm ready to do burpees, no problem.
Yeah. So again, now when we circle back to a fitness model, right, an actual competitive piece or athletic base, based on what he just said, all you're doing is you're putting in so many reps, but what you're doing is your body's adapting to the position of, like we did the Fitness Like a Pro the other day on rowing, right? Mm-hmm. Focusing on, let's use an example of staying in that 11 to 1 o'clock pull position. When you do that over and over and over again, you're building a capacity because your body is getting used to the position for long term. Mm-hmm. Okay. So then what that equates to is better performance across the board. So like just to build on that example, when I was training Invictus, 2 days a week, sometimes 3, depending on where we were in our season, we would do very similar baseline work and then build off of it. And it would be like, okay, we're going to row and you have to hold 1:52 for every single 1,500 meters that you did. And you did 8 of them in the day. Mm-hmm. But that was the goal. Could you have gone faster on some of them? Yeah. But the perspective is to let your body adapt to the position to be able to take strides forward.
Yeah. And this is with not just rowing, obviously. This
it's
is
with
every single movement.
Yeah, the conditioning side is easy to explain when it comes to that, because sometimes people think that it's like, oh, I can't push the weights, but like you can, you know. So let's just kind of circle back here. So on body adaptation. Oh, I said it wrong again. I'm so
you said it right
this.
that time.
Did
actually.
I say it right?
There you go. Adaptation.
Adaptation. So when you're like kind of looking from like, okay, how do I continue to progress? If you are bench pressing and you do the same reps and weight every single week, so say every Wednesday you do it and you do the same weight and the same reps, you're not changing any of the variables. Mm-hmm. So your body adapts to the movement, which is a positive thing. So that's a really big negative. People are like, oh, this is why people trash like CrossFit and functional fitness sometimes, is because they think that like, well, your body never adapts to what you're doing. It's like, well, yes and no. And there's a different stimulus to not adapting to it, right? Mm-hmm. The constant variation, by definition, that was the purpose of it, is being in a constant state of stress, okay, and being uncomfortable. Yeah. Because it teaches you a couple different things, and your body reacts differently to that, right? Than if I'm doing a bench press and I'm doing say I'm doing 4x10 at 135 every week, eventually it becomes very easy because your body's just used to it, right? So when you look at like adapting to like the next level, you have to change the variable. So in a fitness perspective, it's changing the weights, right? The rep scheme and the tempo or speed of you accomplishing it.
Yep.
So that's why just because I'm doing a movement over and over and over again, great example is yesterday we did a lot of wall balls, okay? The goal on that workout was to do 30 unbroken every single round, okay? That was the goal.
Yep.
And if you couldn't do that, the whole goal was to keep it as small as sets as possible. So if you couldn't do 1, to try to hold on and do 2, right? Those don't negate to doing 3. Like you got to hold on to the movement. But what that's teaching your body is that I can do this under strain, okay? And you will have gains and you will have an increase in, you know, capacity work if it's conditioning or strength, because your body is still getting used to the movements, but it's never getting used to the movements as in a pattern perspective or the variable, because you can still change the variable to still make it more difficult.
Yeah, and I think that's where we start to see burnout too, is if you do the same thing over and over and over again, or you keep pushing yourself way too much. Like, yes, your body's going to adapt to it, but you get to a point where you start to risk injury. You start to just risk regular burnout of just like feeling tired and not really liking the movement as much. And that's something that you want to avoid too. So you want to talk about how the difference between adaptation versus burnout.
Of course, and the burnout's a major thing, right? Is I did a competitive, we talked about this on one of the other episodes. Competitive CrossFit has damaged my shoulders for sure, right? Because I've said it flat out, competitive CrossFit is not healthy for an individual to do a long term. But what I will say is that goes for if you're a competitive pro sprinter, you're a pro hockey player, baseball, football. Like if you look at, I don't know the exact stats, so don't hold me to this, but I know like a running back has a life expectancy of like 2 years or something in the NFL. It's pretty low.
It's like 2 to 3 years.
It's like something, it's not very high, but people don't realize that's like the life expectancy of these. But it's no different in competitive CrossFit. When you're beating your body up like that, on doing a lot of circular movements, right, it puts a toll on your body. So from an injury perspective is you need your body to get used to the movements. Otherwise, if you're in constant fatigue, okay, that's where injuries come from, right? So to circle back is your body has to adapt to the movements and the movement patterns and the style that is being performed in, okay? When that happens, you increase the volume accordingly based on that, but at the end of the day, you have to still judge and read your body and how it's working.
Yeah, this is why like you want to avoid overtraining, and this is where deload weeks become very important, and recovery. Body adaptation, obviously you want to do the movements and you want to put your body under stress, but you don't want to do it too much to a point where you start risking injuries. So that's why recovery is super important for this type of stuff. Rest, sleeping, obviously, just regular recovery type stuff. And take if you're not feeling great, don't push yourself to, because obviously, like, I'm a firm believer that if I wake up in the morning and like mentally I'm just not in it, I feel groggy, I don't feel like going to the gym, whatever, I'm a firm believer of that's the most important day to get to the gym. But if I wake up in the morning and I'm like sore, like it hurts to actually get up, that's overtraining. Like this morning when I woke up, I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling it.
When it takes you an hour to warm up and you're still like, I don't know if I should do this.
Yeah.
Been there a million times.
That's where you reassess. Like, okay, maybe I'll still do something, but I will, instead of doing the percentage, if I'm doing percentage work, instead of doing the 80 to 90% that they want you to do, you drop it to like 50 to 60%.
And that's the spot on choice there. That's literally what I was going to say, was that a lot of the times, this is why we typically in our programs, we don't work off of percentage work very much. We base it off of how you feel. And we use the scale, the 1 to 10 scale, how you feel, right? So if we say work at a 7 based on how you feel for the day, that's what you're supposed to do. So 7 as in 70% based on how you feel, right? And those are the spectrums that you kind of want to kind of focus on.
Yeah, and he's talking about the RPE scale.
Yeah, the RPE scale. RPE came out. It's been around for a while, but it really, in our world, it started becoming more popular a few years ago. In a lot of the programs, I'd say about 5 years ago is when it started to be really implemented because of what you just said, bro, is like people were getting destroyed. I actually hurt my back severely like 10 years ago because I was trying to work off of my 1 rep max back squat at the time was like 480. And I was doing reps at like 90% when I just wasn't feeling great.
Yeah.
And I ended up hurting my back like severely. It was bad, you know? But if I had RPE as a guideline, as in like, okay, I'm supposed to work at 90%, but I feel like shit today, maybe my rep schemes would have been a much lower.
Yeah. And RPE is, for those of you who do not know, it's like he just said, the actual term for it is called rate of perceived exertion. And basically, it's how you feel for the day.
Yeah.
So obviously, your max at the time was a 485 back squat, but that day, say you probably couldn't hit 485. So you want to build off of what the max of the day is, right? So that's the whole thought process.
Like yesterday,
RPE.
right? Yesterday in our programming, I wrote 10 sets of 2 reps of squat cleans, but it was billed to a heavy double for the day. Okay? So the RPE is based on how you feel for the day. That's how it was written. It wasn't maxed out for a double, right? I will almost never program a max out. Even at the end of this cycle, we're doing right now in my 6-week program, we're doing a one rep max clean, but I'm going to program build to a heavy single for the day.
Yeah.
And that's how it's going to be written. It's not going to be, go and PR. If you feel like you're going to PR, do it. I can't even tell you, me and Brian used to do this shit all the time. We used to just PR in random days. If you feel good, just keep building. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean because today's the day we're testing means that has to be the day that you're building to a weight of a PR day.
Yeah, that's super common too, because you'll notice in a lot of big programs, they always say build to a heavy single, never do your 1 rep max. Unless there will be times where they say, all right, do 105% of your 1 rep max, and that's like a max out day. But for the most part, it's usually built to a heavy single. Same thing happened to me in college. We had our test days, right? Where beginning of the semester, end of the semester, we're maxing out on all the big lifts. And I remember I didn't hit 225 yet. This is like freshman year. I missed it. I was at like 215 and I missed 225. Didn't feel the greatest, whatever. Same thing. Went back in to work out like 2 or 3 days later, was doing bench. Felt great. I was like, you know what? Screw it. We're gonna see how heavy I can go. And I hit 225 for the first time. Yeah. Same thing. It's just how you feel for the day. So that's the whole thought process with that. And that will help avoiding burnout and avoiding the injury with by following RPE and how you feel for the day as opposed to just always going all out. Because no one's body can handle going all out all the time.
Nah, man, it's like impossible.
It's wear and tear.
And I've seen it in so many different sports and, a lifelong career in the fitness industry from college all the way through. And I've seen it over and over and over again. And I'm an example of that. Making great progress, get hurt. Make great progress and hurt. Because I was not great at off days or weeks. I was always such a high volume person, and it always bit me in the ass in the end.
You always feel like you need to move and do something.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
So, all these things are like RPs, like all this stuff is so relevant to, your body adapting to whatever it is that you're doing. Before we move on to the next piece, the last thing I kind of want to touch on is this is so important because in order to continue to push the volume, let's just say on repetitions and or weight, your body has to adapt to whatever it is that you're doing, okay? So I use the example of bench press. So if you go back to that example again, and your body eventually, if your position is correct, right, and you are now able to push the weight, the positioning and your body adaptation on the actual movement allows you to now change the variables and then still be in a strong position to be able to do more reps, add the tempo, add more weight.
We see real world examples of this all the time. We talk about with rowing, even outside of an example of this that is seen pretty common in the real world is high altitude. Go to Colorado. You've been to Colorado, I'm assuming. You've ever worked out anything in Colorado? No.
It's awful.
Yeah, I had a lacrosse game out there. 2 actually. My senior year, we played 2 teams in like a spring break trip, and no oxygen. You're there. Yeah. It takes like I said before. It takes 2 to 4 weeks to actually notice.
The Olympic
change.
Training Centers are in places like that
all
for that
high
reason.
altitude because their bodies get naturally. Like this is just naturally how it goes. Even people that live in Colorado, their bodies just take in much more oxygen because their bodies adapted to the different. You see out in the wilderness all the time with animals adapting to their environments. So it's the same thing. If you put your body in a high stress environment, it will adapt to it over time.
Correct.
You don't want to overtrain, like we said, because you can get hurt. But if you keep falling to it and sticking with it and staying consistent, then you're going to notice these changes. I mean, in the stats we named, initial strength you're going to see immediately, especially as a new member who hasn't done anything.
You're instantly going to be able to lift more. You're going to see weight loss.
But you're not going to notice everything else, the actual physical changes, until a little while afterwards. Talked about recovery, be comfortable with being uncomfortable. I just think this is a mindset thing too, and by forcing yourself to do the body adaptation, kind of go down that route, mentally it kind of puts you in a very better headspace. Because you notice if you walk into a CrossFit gym, there's no lazy people. Like, you don't see...
Not true.
Not true?
Sorry, everybody. I love everybody. But... and I'll touch on that. I'll let you finish, and I'll kind of touch on that.
But I feel like from what I've seen in the gym, like obviously, like I can be pretty lazy myself, but I'll still go do a crazy hard CrossFit workout. But I also I think feel like doing these harder workouts kind of puts me in the mindset of like that kind of leaks out into the rest of my life of like I constantly.
You're also a very competitive person.
Yes.
You know, and that's what I'm going to basically touch on. Is so many people are not competitive. I remember when I first opened this location in Sparta, 11 years ago almost now. Actually, no. Yeah, 11.
So going on year 12.
Going on year 12.
Last podcast, you mentioned it.
I did, right? Jeez. So I remember coaching class and people like never jump roping before in their life. And I looked at them like they were crazy. But then I had to like ground myself and be like, you don't realize how many people, here's a great stat. What do you think the percentage of people that ever sprint again after the age of 18?
We've talked about this before. It's like literally like 5%.
It's so fucking low.
It's so low.
It's ridiculous. I think the stat is right around like 85% of people like never sprint ever again in their lifetime.
I think it's lower than that.
I think so too. I think I'm giving some more grace on this, but it's bad. I don't remember what the exact number is, but it's pretty bad. So when you think about that, and so now you take people in a spectrum of like, okay, you're trying to, right? My whole program right now is designed around effort and basically like just your velocity of trying to push the boundaries of what you're not used to.
Yeah.
So a lot of the workouts are programmed sprint based. So people in general don't understand what that stimulus feels like. And it's not that they don't know, it's really because they just don't know how to do it because they've never really have done it. Most athletes have the ability to be able to turn on that second gear. But if you were, you did high school sports or maybe you didn't do any, right? And then you start working and you don't really go back to that. It's really, really difficult for people to like, they may think their max effort is what they're doing, but it's really not, okay? So when you really emphasize and think about that, what I notice in the functional fitness space, even in the bodybuilding world, you see the same results with the same mindset of people. People that are doing, everyone was like the bodybuilding, the typical bodybuilding, right? Like you're gonna go use the machines and you're gonna go do that. There's no functional movements. There's still people that have phenomenal results based on that, right?
Yeah.
And they're able to put their body in a phase of strain that's different than what we would do. But then if you reverse it, they're able to put their body in strain that we're not used to doing. Okay, because I've done bodybuilding workouts where I was like, oh, fucking smoked from this, right? But if I put them in my world and I said, okay, we're gonna do 3 rounds of 400 meters and we're gonna do box jump overs and burpees, they're gonna be like, and then they're like, oh, they're gonna be like, oh, and you're gonna lap them probably in it.
Exactly, yeah.
Right, because it's a totally different like mindset and just body discomfort. Okay, so it's really understanding that like when people do come in here, it's not necessarily that I think, listen, there's lazy people in the fitness in general.
Yeah.
Where they, you could put a price tag on something, dude. You could sell a package for $5 to someone or 10 grand and the result will be the same. People think because they pay more money for something, they think that the result's gonna be higher. And we've tested programs like this before. We've done like $5,000, like 12-week programs.
Yeah.
Same amount of people don't show up, same percentage. And they think that the money holds them accountable, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
Right? So what I'm getting at is it's creating something that people can understand to continue to progress on, whether it's bodybuilding, functional fitness, CrossFit, general classes, whatever it is. It's what keeps people from coming in, but then having a step-by-step program of like, oh, this is next, this is next, this is next. Because what I'm trying to say is when you talk about body adaptation, right? It's all designed around that. Is your body gets used to something and now you need to alter it for it to then get used to it again. And then alter it to then get used to it again.
Yeah, and what I meant by there's no lazy people in the gym, I kind of meant that the people that stick around, that are here for the longest time, the people that have been here from day one, they're the ones that are constant go-getters. They're constantly just looking for something to do. Like they constantly need something to be done. Like they can't sit around. They can sit around for like maybe a day.
The personality
to just
set.
relax. Yes, it's the personality. So type A, is that what it is? Just constantly.
Your mom would know. She sends me that stupid thing all the time.
She does. My mom is a recruiter, and she's a very good recruiter. But she is always recruiting. And she's always spreading the knowledge, trying to help everyone else out. Like, oh, look at this person, that person. This person looks good. And she's always like picking people apart. So that's where I get it from.
So,
Did you want to cover? So, bodybuilding, as you mentioned it before, versus CrossFit. So, bodybuilding adaptation is much different than CrossFit.
yeah, let's use like some primary examples we can go through.
Yeah, bodybuilding, you're going to see, obviously, you're not getting your heart rate up as much. You are doing more main compound lifts. You're looking to build muscle, but not necessarily build, what was the word I'm looking for? Aerobic.
Yeah, aerobic capacity
Yes.
or functional style strength.
Yes, functional style. That's the functionality is the biggest difference between CrossFit and bodybuilders, because you have a lot of bodybuilders out there who look freaking great, right? Massive individuals. As soon as you throw them in any kind of situation where they can't take a 2 to 3 minute rest.
It's kind of like what
sets.
I said about
the
difference.
It's exactly the same thing.
And I think in our world, the best CrossFit style athletes or functional athletes are the ones that combined it together, because there is something to be said about bodybuilding strength, because it does cross over for sure. It just builds a different kind of capacity.
Exactly.
So, I mean, just to kind of touch on that a little bit. So when you take, based on what we're talking about, so the adaptation of the bodybuilding world, right? If you're trying to get your body used to something, it's really simple. It's keeping your positioning right, and really where you see the most gains, and from my point of view, in the in like the weightlifting world or just being in the fitness industry, it's all about tempos, negatives and tempos.
Yep.
And it's not about racking everything. And if I'm doing rows on something and I rack it and I'm doing the whole 200 pounds, in some scenarios you can do it, but the tempo is really the balance point, because that's where the stimulus is. Doing 2 or 3 seconds on a negative, right? Higher reps are typically more beneficial than a lower rep scheme. But there's all these different point of views and perspectives when it comes to that.
Yeah. So, kind of to summarize everything, you want to train with intent and train smart, right? Don't want to burn yourself out. Consistently tracking your performance is big for this type of stuff, just so you can actually notice the changes as you go. Like, you have your baseline test in the beginning of whatever you're doing, and then you kind of
The most important thing is you got to test.
Constantly tracking it. We didn't really cover it, but eating enough protein, obviously. I mean, nutrition.
We talked about nutrition, but the nutrition is spot on.
Biggest thing.
To take 30 seconds on that, people don't eat enough protein.
No, not at all.
I'm guilty of it too. There's a general rule of thumb is if you weigh 200 pounds, you should eat 1 gram per pound. It's pretty accurate for the most part, but most people don't even come close to that. And that's where you struggle with weight loss. If you don't follow the protein intake, a lot of the times your weight loss won't be proper either.
Yes. Yeah, I know. I was surprised when I went to Shannon and I said, hey, I want to gain weight. And she gave me 220 grams of protein is what I had to eat, which made sense because I want to gain
hard, right?
weight. It's so much eating. But I hit the weight that I wanted to be at. And I went to Courtney. I was like, hey, can you give me a program to where I can lose weight now? I'm eating more protein, 240 grams of protein now. And we cut my calorie intake by like 1,700.
Yep.
Like, that was crazy.
It's the style and quality of food. That's what it is.
Recovery, sleeping, making sure you're sleeping 7 to 9 hours in between there. Respect the deload weeks for recovery. And then the biggest thing, too, is you have to be patient. This is not something that's going to happen overnight. It's not something that it's going to be like a month. You're going to have a 6-pack of abs, right? This stuff takes time. We've talked about it in the past before, that it's a journey, right? It's not something that it's just done overnight. And the biggest thing is body adaptation results from all of these things. It's not just one. It's not just working out. It's not just eating. It's not just recovery. It's everything mixed together is where that's where you're really going to see your body adapt to the new environment.
That's the best, literally how you that exactly is what it is how your body adapts to the environment that you put it in and how you change it to continue the progress.
Exactly. All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode. Make sure to tune in for our next one. We are surprised. What do I want to say here?
I don't know.
Make sure you tune into the next episode as we talk about something else that you'll be interested in. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram and all the other podcast platforms you listen on. And how's that saying go again?
We'll see you at the gym.
See you at the gym.